If you love amazing aromas and super savory but also sweet proteins and meats and vegetables, gosh, I got a good one for you today. Korean barbecue is absolutely what you need because it's so versatile and you can make it your own in so many different ways. Today we're gonna be making beef bulgogi with ribeye and a whole beautiful marinade, which is absolutely one of my favorite things to make. And we're also gonna be making a red wine vinegar, thin cut pork belly marinade. Oh gosh. And then probably one of the coolest parts about Korean barbecue is all the different accompaniments that you can put with it. Beer's one of them. Yeah, absolutely. Korean barbecue, they're drinking beer and soju while they're eating up some delicious Korean barbecue. So good. What we're also gonna accompany with is some whole garlic cloves, you'll see why. And then we've got some pickled cucumbers. Now these are Persian cucumbers or baby cucumbers that we make kind of a spicy, savory pickle. Oh, super good and super fresh and super tangy to put on top of our beef bulgogi or our pork belly. Some spicy bean sprouts, yes, delicious. And of course, Korean barbecue wouldn't be Korean, at least that I know of, without kimchi. And something that's a little bit more traditional for Korean barbecues, you usually cook them over coals, hot coals on a little plate. It's pretty cool. If you've ever been to a Korean barbecue restaurant, it's a lot of fun. You cook it as you go and you eat it as you cook. It's a really fun experience if you've never done it. But today we're gonna be cooking it on the Halo Griddle, and you'll see why, because we want a lot of the flavors from our meats to roll down into our vegetables. Let's get going, this is gonna be fun.
All right, we were able to track down these Korean Perilla seeds. What the internet describes the flavor of Perilla is a combination between mint and basil. Something else interesting about the plant when I did do a Google search is that they call it wild coleus. So for all of you gardeners out there that plant coleus in your yard, you can see the structure really is pretty similar. These leaves are larger than what I remember, so I'm gonna go ahead and find smaller leaves. If you've grown this before or more well-versed in Korean barbecue and you know that there's a certain time to harvest this plant, let us know in the comment section, because I would say, from my memory, that's a perfect leaf right there. But we've got leaves as big as...
Big Mama Jama.
Huge.
Might as well cut it, let's eat it.
You know, but this is perfect because these are really bite-sized. So you put your piece of meat in here, you're gonna wrap it up like this and then pop it in. And I also read that they wilt pretty quickly. So you can wash them, put it into some kind of wrapping and into your fridge, and they'll last a few days. But that's probably why we can't find it in our local grocery stores, because it probably just doesn't stay on the shelf pretty well.
The thing that I love most about bulgogi is the aroma that is created when you combine all of these incredible fresh and aromatic ingredients. And it just smells so rich and you just feel good. It just makes you feel good. It's just like that kind of aroma, you know? Bulgogi is one of Korea's most beloved dishes. My wife lived there for a little over a year teaching the little kids English. The Korean food is really a passion of hers that was passed on to me. So one of the many things that my wife has given to me was the love of Korean foods. You may be wondering to yourself, what does the term bulgogi mean? Other than it's really fun to say, which it really is, bulgogi, bulgogi, bulgogi. Bulgogi translates to fire meat, apparently. One really interesting thing is that bulgogi can actually be traced all the way back. I know I'm gonna butcher this name, but I'm gonna try my very best. It can be traced all the way back to the Goguryeo kingdom, but that goes all the way back to 37 BC, all the way up to 668 AD. And that's just incredible when you realize that what you're about to make today in 2024 or anytime in the future after I make this video is that the foods that we're using here, some of the foods, I'm sure maybe not all of the foods were available in 37 BC, but some of the foods that we're doing and the flavors that we're creating was started so long ago. And I'm sure it's evolved since then. So let's get going. Let's make our bulgogi marinade. Okay, first thing we're gonna need is 3 garlic cloves. Chop them all up. Now, I've done this a couple different ways. If you would like to just take all of your ingredients and throw them all into a blender and just blend them all up so you've got one smooth marinade, you can absolutely do that, and I really love it because that's super easy to do. So it's a little less work, but you can also give it a little bit more of a rustic flavor and have your chunks of food like your your minced garlic still whole in there too. So you can do it either way, where you just combine it like I'm gonna combine it today, or like I said, toss it in the blender. Okay, now this is another incredible ingredient. Now, you don't actually have to use this. You can use an apple or a Bosch pear. This is an Asian brown pear. A little bit different of a mouthfeel. It's a little bit more grainier of a pear. Delicious nonetheless though, but this is gonna give a really sweet and bright flavor to our bulgogi. So let's get it peeled. Once you have it peeled, now we really only need about a 1/4 cup of this as grated. So I'm gonna use the small grate on my box grater instead of the large one. And we're just gonna go ahead and, again, the aroma that you're gonna get from just this part of it. We've got our garlic sitting there. We're grating this incredibly juicy, fragrant pear. Man, this was an extra juicy one. I've never actually had one this juicy before. And we're also gonna need some green onions. Now these green onions are from our garden, which we just posted an update video about this past Sunday. So make sure you go check that out if you're interested in gardening and growing your own fruits and veggies and herbs, things like that. You might notice these are quite small. They're actually not totally mature yet, but I needed some green onions and we had some in the garden, so that's what we're using. So you're really just gonna chop them up really nice and small. We're also gonna want 1/2 of an onion, and we're gonna grate that as well on the small side. Okay, but get your tissues ready when you do this with the onion, because you are gonna bawl your brains out. Look at that. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and combine all of our ingredients into a bowl for our marinade. Now, start with 1/4 cup of soy, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Oh, my absolute favorite, I love the fragrance. 2 tablespoons of mirin, or you can use rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of sugar. Then we're gonna take our garlic, our green onion, and our pear. Look at that. And now we combine it all, and we really want to get that sugar to dissolve in the rest of this marinade mixture here. And that kind of chunkiness is really what we want to see, because that's what's going to really stick to the beef. This smells amazing. One thing I forgot was about 20 cranks of the pepper mill. Okay, now here's our ribeye. This is a choice 1-pound ribeye, nice thick cut. And might I recommend tossing your beef in the freezer for a good 1/2 hour, 45 minutes. It's gonna really enable you to be able to slice your meat thin, and then give it a dry with paper towel, because we don't want any of that steak juice to make our knife slip. And now just start by just shaving. Like, that's really what we're looking for there. And you could go a little bit thinner if you want to, but that is great. That is gorgeous. All that intermuscular fat, that's what you want. Okay, here we are. We've got all of our thin strips of ribeye, and now we get it in there. I like to put it in one at a time. Make sure that every nook and cranny of that beef. Now, this whole system, not a sponsor here, but Zwilling Fresh and Save system. I reviewed this a couple weeks ago. Go check that video out if you didn't see it. This is the best food storage system, but also this is a vacuum sealed food system. This is going to pull all the air out of here, and that's important because it opens up your proteins and it allows that meat to penetrate further into the meat, so you don't have to marinate for very long. You can get an incredible, impactful marinade in just a couple hours versus a full day. So we're gonna let this marinate for the next 4 hours before dinner. Pork belly, yes, one of my personal favorites. We're gonna be cutting this in half, and then we're gonna be slicing it super thin and marinating it together. Let's go. And then we're just gonna shave it thin, just like we did our beef for the bulgogi. So just keep going and try to cut as thin as strips as you possibly can. Our marinade is going to consist of 3 garlic cloves diced up, 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of gochugaru, which is Korean red chili powder, 1 tablespoon of gochujang, which is Korean red pepper paste, fermented, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Oh my goodness, the aroma is jumping off in front of me right now. And 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Another staple in the Korean barbecue banchan is going to be baby cucumber. We're gonna pickle them and make them a little spicy, so spicy pickled cucumbers. And what you wanna do is you wanna cut them into like a little 1/4 inch slicers like that. And don't worry if you don't have one of these fancy little pink wave cutters, just use your knife and make them flat. Once you have all of your pickles nice and sliced, ooh, get back here. Put them in a bowl, and I usually buy the pack of 6 or whatever of these cucumbers. If you have a bunch of leftover after you eat them, it's not like they're gonna go bad anytime soon. So if you want a little fresh little snack, just go ahead and have a quick little healthy little tangy spicy cucumber snack. Now we're just gonna smother these guys with salt and mix them all around. And then we're gonna let them sweat for about 20-30 minutes just to pull out a lot of the moisture out of them. Let's cook. We're gonna start with some ribeye, oyster mushrooms, a little bit of bean sprouts, and some shiitakes. See how quickly that is cooking. Stir that in.
You want to put some kimchi on there too. Oh no, don't put it all together, just like separate them. That's when they come over and try to help you as a foreigner.
Bulgogi, a little bean sprout. She's pulling them right off the grill. Kimchi, lots of kimchi. Oh, that's a good piece. Another piece of bulgogi, maybe.
Do you want a garlic?
Yeah, toss the garlic on there. A little mushroom?
No, no mushroom. You just kind of eat those on the side.
Oh.
Here, ooh,
That's
there you go. It's a full one.
It's
hot. It's hot.
Ooh, yeah, it's a hot one. Here we go. That leaf is so interesting.
How would you describe the flavor?
It's so fresh. I definitely see how they can say mint. I definitely get the basil too. Like, I would say just super fresh. Like, it doesn't taste earthy at all, like another kind of leaf, but the freshness really complements the savory. You can get one of these mushrooms.
It's not the only leaf that is typically served at a Korean barbecue, but is the only leaf that we can't find in the grocery store.
All right, it's a win. All right, now we gotta try the pork belly. Sizzly sizzle. Wow, does that smell amazing. Get a little of those sprouts under there, a little of that kimchi, takis, and our oyster mushrooms. That aroma from that marinade on that pork belly is outstanding. You can see through the color, the grease coming down and getting into our mushrooms and our bean sprouts, our kimchi.
That looks incredible. Typically,
You don't use a plate.
no, this is right in the middle of your table. So you just kind of grab and go, put just what you're going to eat on the grill at a time, and then grab from the middle of the table and eat. It's very communal.
Oh, I want to try this. Okay, here we go, pork belly. That pork belly, a lot spicier than the bulgogi. We need to go feed our kids and the rest of our family. This is amazing, it's fun. And then all the other things that we've got, the accompaniments with the rice, the pickled cucumbers, all the other stuff, they're just little munchies that you're just throwing in your face while you're eating this deliciousness. It's amazing. Korean barbecue, I appreciate you. See you on the next one.